I can't see a peace deal. The demands of Russia and what Ukraine slash Europe, right? Ukraine and Europe are aligned, would accept hasn't changed, right? What's changed is we've got Trump saying we're going to do a peace deal, but actually none of the fundamentals have changed. I can't actually see what there is to bridge. And so I would argue that, with the Trump is incredibly unreliable. So even if he does say, "Oh, well, I'll do that," actually, do we really think that he will in the moment? I mean, that's a real problem. We got 1,000 British troops in Estonia, for example,
Mm.
and they're 30 miles from the Russian border. If the Russians come over that border, we're going there. Those troops, those British troops, are under Estonian command, right? So we would go and deal with the Russians, and we'd be looking over our shoulder, going, "Are the Americans going to help us here?" So there's huge problems. I think was it Joe or Kirsty said that NATO might be dead. I think there's real concerns about that, and so I would argue the Lib Dems are arguing that actually we need to start thinking about potentially with Trump being so unreliable, what does it look like working with our European allies in Europe to provide collective defense? And that's not to say that the best of all outcomes is America remaining engaged. So I
Yeah.
do understand why the Prime Minister is doing what he's doing, but I just hope that below the line, inside the government departments, they are contingency planning for what it looks like if the US are not engaged. The Europeans, of which I include the UK and the Ukrainians, see security in a collective sense. We all have the same adversary in Russia, and we understand very clearly that the defense of one is a defense of all, and the defense of all is the defense of one. And that's not how Trump sees Ukraine. Ukraine sees Trump as a transaction. They want to stop funding it, which is obviously fair enough. That's their position. And in any case, in that transaction, he favors Russia over Ukraine. Like that's been really, really clear with the US positioning and statements and voting with Russia at the UN and all the rest of it. So it's not only that the Europeans and the US view the role of Ukraine in European security differently, it's also that we have really different views on the role of Russia